So for letter A, remember I was talking to you guys about how every FRQ, every free response question is out of 9 points, right? And out of those 9 points, how many parts do we have to split those points among? 2. And of those 2, which one is more important? Oh yeah. And A, which is probably 7 to 8 points out of 9. A, which is probably 7 to 8 points out of 9. For A, you would get absolutely no credit if you didn't separate correctly. So here's my question. Were you guys able to separate? Oh, I remember. You guys were all stuck with the E, weren't you? Took me a second to catch up. Were you guys able to separate correctly? Okay, what comes next? What should have come next? No LNs. What should have come next? Integrals. If you ever see an ln in an integral without ln being your u, hence having some sort of over, because then your du could be that way. If you see any ln alone, which is what some of you guys would have seen if you had tried to take ln of both sides, that is impossible to integrate without CalcBC methods, something called integration by parts. So you would have been stuck if you had taken ln. E, on the other hand, is so much easier because, kiddos, what integration rule should you have seen? E to the u. So therefore, you should have chosen your u is equal to 2y. So du is equal to 2 dy. I'm going quickly because you guys worked on this on Friday and we're just checking. You must show your work. Some of you are trying to do, I don't know exactly what, mental something. But if it's not working out, stop doing mental math and just go through the systematic approach. It'll work. As long as you have your forever cards memorized, yeah? Because if you have your forever cards memorized, if you see the integral of e to the u du, your mind should automatically tell you the answer is e to the u plus c. I know, but why am I not writing it? Because I'm just going to move it to the other side anyway. And the other side, x cubed over 3, I think you should have just gotten x cubed plus c when going to integrate this with the power rule, right? Cool. So then we have x cubed plus c. What should I substitute in for you? 2y. Now, because of the explicit directions in the problem, I need to at some point get y by itself. Do you guys want to do that first before attacking the other part to the problem? Maybe you guys need to actually like box or star or highlight parts when you're reading an FRQ so that you don't forget anything. But either way, do you want to solve for y first or plug in the point first? Plug in the point first? Interesting. Okay, so let's go ahead and plug in the point first. Didn't expect that one. It's not a bad thing. So, the point gives us an x and a y, true? True. So, we're saying, hey, they gave us a point, so we can find c. So let's go ahead and plug in for the whole shabam, the point 0, 1/2. Right? Okay. So I can go ahead and actually just kind of zoom in here. When I plug in 0, 1/2, I get 1/2 e to the 2 times 0 equals, wait, 0 is who, x or y? Sad times. 1/2 is the y value, 0 is the x value. So what is c going to end up equaling? Well, that's just 0. 1/2 e to the 1. Oh, isn't that just 1/2 e then? Okay, cool. So now we know c. What are we going to do with him? Plug it in, plug it in. Where? Well, to the equation that I had, right? So we have 1/2 e to the 2y equals x cubed. Question, can I box it and be done? Go look at your directions. They say they want y equals. Who's not by himself? Y equals. Okay, so what do? Solve for y. How do we solve for y? Multiply the left by 2, multiply the right by 2. We end up with e to the 2y is equal to 2x cubed plus e. Don't forget to distribute. Then, I totally agree. ln, ln. ln of e is going to cancel. 2y equals ln of 2x cubed plus e. If some of you start crossing out stuff, you are doing something horribly illegal. Because there is no pre-cal property for ln of a sum. There's ln of a product and ln of division, but not ln of a sum. Last step is to divide by 2 or multiply by 1/2. Guys, this is an FRQ. We do not need to stress about simplifying it in a gorgeous way. Just stick it to the man and say, whew, y is by itself. The clue has been used. Dun, dun, dun. With letter A. Hey, that's 7 or 8 points out of 9. That's not bad. 7 or 8 points out of 9.
So if you just found y first?
If you found y first, then when you plugged in, you would have found c to be e. Because I bet the plus c would have been like in that e spot. Does that make sense? Yeah, so it would have worked either way. Would have worked either way. Just your c would have been different, but the end, like the end game or the final equation would have been the same. All right, hold on. That was just letter A. What's letter B? Ew, the domain and range of a...
Wait, can we go backwards like this, D?
Yeah, but real quick, we're trying to find the domain and range of whatever we found in letter A. There you go. We have to look at this anyway, because we need to find this guy's domain and range. Oh, struggle, kiddos. What kind of function is this? A cubic. Nope.
Oh, no.
A logarithmic. A logarithmic function, right? Well, struggle. If he's a logarithmic function, what do I know from pre-cal about logarithmic functions? Can't be 0. Yeah, can't hit 0. Can't hit x equals 0. Or can't have an argument of 0. What else? The argument. Now, hold on, careful. Think about what you guys are saying. You're saying can't be 0 and can't be negative. But what do you mean by that? The ln can't be 0, can't be negative? No, the ln can, because remember, ln is y values. Can't y values be all real numbers? Can it be 0 and can it be negatives? What isn't allowed to be 0 or negatives? The x values, the domain. So when we go to think of, for letter B, the domain and range, we have to ask ourselves the question, hey, this is our basic graph. This is just normal ln of x. Can we use the same thing and just say, oh, sweet, x has to be greater than 0. Range is all real numbers? No. How come? Is our function ln of x? No. Who's our function? Y equals 1/2 ln of, is it 2x plus e? So, for domain and range of normal ln, x is greater than 0 and range is all real numbers. But the problem is, x is everybody in the inside, right? So who's everybody on the inside for ours? Yep, so we have to go ahead and set our 2x cubed plus e and say you have to be greater than 0. Does that make sense? He's our argument, so he's the guy who has to be greater than 0. Just think there's been a shift. There's been a translation, and we have to figure out what that translation says or gives us. The range is still all real numbers. That's totally fine. Still goes forever high, forever low. But the domain, we have to subtract e, divide by 2, cube root. Dun, 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 dun. I know, I did my pre-cal fast. You can put the negative on the inside or on the outside. It's a cubed root. We're allowed to have a negative for a cubed root. We're just not allowed to have a negative for a squared root. What's up?
Can we write it like that or just do like x?
Either way. Either way. You can do interval notation as long as you have a parenthesis, comma to infinity. But you can also use inequalities. AP guys, they'll understand. They're tracking. Think you guys could get? Don't say could have gotten, because sometimes it's like, oh, okay, we see it, we get it. Do you think if you see something similar, maybe you could get all 9 points on an FRQ?
Maybe.
I think so. And some of you are like, maybe I'll make a mistake here or there, but you should get the majority of them, right? All right, so your guys' turn.
So like, if we had a problem with that, so we had like some numerical mistakes, multiply 1 or something.
It'd be like probably minus 1.
Okay.
Probably minus 1. They don't really do halves. It'd be like a whole point. But it shouldn't be more than that because they have points for different things. Like, if they separate the just don't separate the variables wrong. Then you're in huge trouble. But, Aaron, Violet, problem on the board. Let's go. They give a point for usually separating the variables correctly, then for integrating the left and the right correctly, and then where they go from there. Having a constant of integration, so not forgetting to put the plus c, and then using the clue to solve for plus c, and then writing the final equation. That's 6 points. Where do they usually throw in an extra point? Maybe if there's like a u substitution or something, they might throw in like the 7th point. And then for domain and range, probably 1 point each. Struggle. What's different about letter A? Does letter A say solve, or does it just say use? I mean, it doesn't literally say use. Is it a solve or a use, though? Oh, it's a use. It's not a solve, it's a use. So we got to use our clue words to help us out, right, guys? So they say, all right, y equals is the particular solution. True. Then they say y equals negative 2 is tangent to the graph of f. Find the x-coordinate of the point of tangency and determine whether f has a local max, a local min, or neither at this point. Well, stink-a-dink. What on earth does it mean if it's tangent? It touches at one point. But guys, hold on. What should the equation of a tangent line look like?
In this case, it's flat.
It's flat. Oh, wait. So if y equals negative 2, hold on. Doesn't that mean y equals 0? Isn't that what that means? Oh. So, what's the slope of the tangent line? And where do we find slope of a tangent line? Oh. Just think equation of a tangent line. If y equals negative 2, the slope must be 0. Slope of the tangent line is the derivative. So can't we say from all of that, just kind of breaking down what they gave us, can't we say dy dx, which is 3 minus x all over negative 2 is 0? Wait, what? What did I just do? I plugged in. Who's y? Negative 2. So not only do I know the slope of the derivative, the slope of the tangent line, which means I know what the derivative equals, I also know the y value. So I was able to plug in the 0 for what the derivative equals. I was able to plug in negative 2 for what y equals. Can I go ahead and solve for x? 3 minus x is equal to, well, 0. So then x is equal to? So far, what have I done? Find the x-coordinate for the point of tangency. Check. This might be a good technique in your free response. Like, oh, I did that. Uh-oh, there's more. And determine whether f has a local max, local min, or neither. And justify. There are 2 different ways to test for relative extrema. What are the 2 different ways from our forever cards to test for relative extrema? Sign chart, first derivative, or plug in second derivative. Given what we see, how many points do we know is on our original function at this point? We know 1 point. With 1 point, are we going to be able to do a sign chart and test the before and after? No, we don't have anything to plug into. But with 1 point, could we plug into the second derivative and check concavity? So what are we going to do? I know it's a struggle, but it is what it is. We need to find the second derivative. How do we find d squared y over dx squared? Take d dx of who? Yep. What we do to one side, we got to do to the. And who is on the other side? Ew, gross. It's okay. On the left, we get d squared y over dx squared equals... You guys ready? Oh, come on, you've been here, done this. Implicit differentiation. And quotient rule? Bottom. Keep going. Bottom. D top. Minus. Keep going. D bottom. All over. Got it. Oh, this is gross. Wait, do I know someone that I can plug in? Plug in. Don't I know this guy? Don't I know the derivative from what's given in the top? Haven't I just used the derivative? So what did I do? Plug it in, plug it in. What do I get? Ew, something I have to simplify? Nope. Something I just need to plug into. Right? I don't need to simplify that. Just take the point 3, negative 2 and plug it in, plug it in. Carefully. D squared y over dx squared at the point 3, negative 2 equals... Negative 2 is a positive 2 minus 3 minus 3 is 0? Yes, I suppose you could go ahead and write 3 minus 3 is 0 over negative 2. But either way, 0 times anybody is 0. All over what's negative 2 squared? Long story short, 2 over 4. Don't even stress about reducing. Just say, hey, is that a positive or a negative? And since it's positive, what does that mean? Therefore, since y equals f of x has a horizontal tangent line and is concave up at 3, negative 2. Struggle. Am I out of room? I'm totally out of room. Don't ever do this unless you absolutely have to, but it is what it is. 3, negative 2 is a relative who? Or local who? Check him out. Horizontal tangent line and concave up. He is a minimum. Dun, 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 dun. If I had a little more room, I'd probably say something to the effect of concave up since d squared y over dx squared is greater than 0. But either way, we justified. All right, kiddos, that was letter A. This would be an example where probably there were even numbers of points given to A and B. Question, what's letter B ask? Okay. Let y equal g of x be the particular solution to the differential equation for, I don't know, blah, 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 particular solution, blah, 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 with the initial condition. Who's that guy? It's my clue. When it says, give me 1 second, find y equals g of x, am I using or am I solving? I'm solving that differential equation using separation of variables. You guys, ready, set? Solve the differential equation, plug in your clue. Find C. Katrina. Not really. Except the fact. No, not really. It doesn't really change anything. There's probably some reason they gave it to us, but what they're trying to say is, I think they're trying to distinguish or differentiate, I shouldn't say that, distinguish between f of x in letter A and g of x in letter B. But no, we don't need to use the -2 to 8. That's something to keep in mind. Sometimes they give you info that is not really practically helpful for you guys solving. All right, you guys should be going differential equation. All right, if you guys are stuck. Come on. If you guys are stuck, you can follow me, but if you guys are going, keep going. And let's check and see how we did. Solving for letter A. I'll be quiet now because some of you are still working. Nope, letter B. Remember, you have to multiply by dx first. Make your sandwiches with your integrals and your differentials. What was our clue? Sorry, I was actually asking because I didn't know. 6, -4?
Yeah.
If y has to equal -4, then question, which part of the square root do I have to choose?
Negative.
I have to choose negative. There's no other way for a square root to become a negative number. So we can change those both to be a positive. 4 is equal to the square root of, that's 36 minus 36, that's 0, c. Therefore, c is equal to, did you guys get 16?
Yep.
Then they said solve for y equals g of x, so we gotta keep going and plug back in. So y is equal to, we had to choose the negative square root of 6x, oops, not squared, minus x squared plus 16. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun. Kiddos, why did I spend so much time today looking at free response-ish questions? Because your test is going to have one. Because your test is going to have one. All right, cool kids. Let's go ahead and, that's actually not a good FRQ for us to look at right now. Homework spirals, grab them out. Section 5.3, homework spirals, grab them out. People that are going to be gone tomorrow, make sure you check out the video. We are going to be having some work time, but we are also going to be going over maybe a few extra examples. The answers to this practice test portion will be up there as well. And if you guys notice, how many questions were on that practice test portion? Not very many. 4K. You need to study those. I'm going to give you some bookwork on the chapter review. Should be in there by, I meant this morning, but just things didn't work out. Hopefully by lunchtime, at least by after school. Homework due for Wednesday, so it's like tonight, tomorrow night. And then you should study your slope field packet, which is graded and you're going to get back as soon as, hopefully, we finish grading section 5.3. I did mention to you guys that evens would be available for bonus. Some of you guys finished your evens by the time you turned it in, so I went ahead and gave you the bonus. But it's still available to anyone who did not get a check plus. So if you did not get a check plus, that means either you didn't have all the evens done or you didn't have any of them done. Either way, I just said, oh, that's okay. I'll give you more chance, one more chance for it. And that's okay, it wasn't due. But evens, if you want to do them for bonus, they're going to be due Wednesday as well, the day of the test. Does that make sense? So the day of the test, you're putting back in the folder, or by the day of the test, you're putting in your slope field packet with evens if you haven't done them yet. You're going to be turning in your notes and then your homework spirals with the chapter review. You'll probably be turning in the practice test to the back tray as well for like 5 points. It's not going to be worth a lot, but it's worth your time. Here we go. Evens. What do we got? 10. I'm over here because there was a lot of typing to do today. Number 10. Final answer, unless you did plus or minus square root. Y squared equals negative 16 over pi sine of pi x plus c. You could have also done plus or minus square root. That would have been appropriate. What's next? 18? Using your clue, solving for your c and plugging in, you should have gotten 1/2 parenthesis ln of x squared. You could not bring down that 2 because that 2 is not with the x. That 2 is for, that squared is for the entire ln. It had to stay that way, but then plus 2 was your initial condition. A couple more seconds. Number next one? 78. 78? No other evens? Okay. 78. Oh, he's in the way. There's your separation of variables. Solve, 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 solve. Plug in the clue. Solve, solve, solve. Answer is B. Final answer is B. Any more evens? Going once, going twice? Okay. You guys know if you have personal questions about what you missed, why you missed, I'm usually here after school and during lunch, except Mondays are bad. I have a meeting. Zero period will be on Wednesday to help you prepare, but I'm kicking, well, we're starting at 1/4 like normal. Sound good? Okay. Let me go ahead then and, I know I want to pass out your slope field packets. Let me show you guys, struggle. Actually, never mind. I have one more FRQ we're going to peek at tomorrow. How about you guys play with those multiple choicey things while I pass out